All right, so it's Saturday, January 16th at 11:34 p.m. And this is a personal video that I'm going to make right here. This has to do with insecurities as a human being. So I hope that when you watch this video that you realize that this is me at one of my rawest forms. But I want this video to be about my expectations and fears about dating as a trans man. So I haven't been in a relationship for a very long time, but more importantly, I have not been in a relationship where I've identified as transgender, as a trans male. And I think that it's gonna bring about challenges. Right now I'm not looking for a relationship. I mean, if one happened, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't be like, no, I'm too busy. Like I can't be in a relationship. No, that's not the case, but I definitely need to focus on myself right now, and I'm very busy with school. So, a relationship isn't like the top of my list right now, but it's kind of somewhere on there. But, dating as a woman was definitely different than I think what dating as a trans guy is going to be. When I would put my profile on Plenty of Fish, because I'll admit I used Plenty of Fish and I went on a few dates from Plenty of Fish, that, I looked a certain way as a female and people were receptive to the way that I looked. And, I'm in this really awkward stage right now of not passing and looking a certain way to what the public perceives as feminine. I think a lot of people might perceive me, if I were to just upload a picture, as me being butch. People might be really fucking naive and assume that I'm a lesbian, which, I still don't understand the association with how someone's gender expression with their sexuality, because they're not related. Oh my God, they're not related, but whatever. It's just the world being stupid and, whatever. I think if I were to do online dating, that people would be really confused if I were to put my gender as male. So, that's a reason why I haven't tried online dating, because I'm afraid that people are going to judge me by the way that I look, that they're not going to see me as the male that I am, and it would just bring about a whole host of insecurities, and it would just make me probably feel worse about myself than I already do now. Another thing that scares me is, assume that I'm not going to be in a relationship for a while and that eventually I'm going to be passing as male. I'm going to have to figure out, when is the point that I'm going to reveal my trans status to this person that I'm dating? I've learned a hard way that revealing your trans status to someone can be a very dangerous situation. And, fear of violence is a real thing. Your safety needs to be considered when you are a trans person, and especially, I feel like, when you're dating. Because people might have a certain view of you and the parts that you have, and when they find out that you don't, they might get very angry. And, it's a common narrative in the trans community, unfortunately. But, I wonder, when is the time that I'm going to be comfortable to reveal my trans status to someone? Am I going to be stealth when I'm passing? I mean, I'm not going to reveal that I'm trans to like every motherfucker that I meet and be like, oh, by the way, I'm trans. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Rylan. Hey. No, that's not going to happen. So there's going to be a certain level of being stealth. And I'm interested to see how that manifests itself when it comes in to the dating world. This light is ridiculous. I look like an angel. But it's going to be interesting to see how that manifests itself in the dating world. because that's a very personal thing. Even though I talk about it on my YouTube, I post it on my Facebook, all my classmates at school know it's still a very personal part of myself that I don't need everybody knowing my business. So that's something that I'm afraid of, is revealing that I'm trans to someone and being rejected. People have a certain idea of the way that you look, the gender that you're perceived, that you're going to have certain parts. And, at this point in my life, in my transition, I don't have the anatomy that is typically associated with a male. And you know what? That's fine with me right now, for the most part. That's fine. But I think especially, there are people that will have an expectation of what you have in your pants, and I may not, meet that expectation that they have, as eventually I will be presenting as male and passing as male. So that brings me to the biggest fear that I have about dating as a trans man, and that is what someone is going to think when they actually see my anatomy in its whole. For those of you that are trans, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. For those of you that are not trans, basically, without going into too much detail, our anatomy is transformed into a more male-like resemblance. It's the hormones that do it. We're not adjusting anything, but by injecting testosterone into our bodies, our anatomy changes and it looks more male. So that might be a turnoff for some people. That makes me very insecure about myself, about what someone's gonna think if they were to see me. So it makes dating a very unsure and uncomfortable thing that eventually I will be, entering into, and rejection is the biggest thing. I don't want someone to look at me and be confused or terrified or worse, disgusted by what I have in my pants, So, I hope, oh my God, I hope that there are people that are understanding and accepting and loving, maybe the pansexual people or the people that I'll be dating, or maybe even bisexual people that don't care either way. I don't know. Or maybe I'll be lucky in another way and I'll meet a cis person who just doesn't care, I don't know. I don't know what my future holds. Or maybe I'll just be single. I don't fucking know. But yeah, those are definitely the fears that I have about dating as a trans man, because I think there's a lot of unknowns. And especially at the point that I am in my transition where I'm not passing as male, it makes things even more uncertain because, I'm not perceived as a male. Like, women aren't looking at me as a male in bars or, whatever. It just kind of isn't in an unknown area. So I won't know until my life continues what's going to happen. But, these are just kind of the fears that I have right now. And it's scary. It's scary dating as a trans person because, yeah, there's just a lot of unknowns. So there we have it, kids. Ah.